Today we're going to be unboxing and setting up the all-new Fire TV Stick with voice remote. Now when we had reviewed the original Fire TV Stick, we came away extremely impressed. The Fire TV Stick with the voice remote should make searching for content much easier than the original Fire TV Stick. We will be doing a full review of this, so please stay tuned for that. Now I'll also leave a link to our review of the original Fire TV Stick in the description below in case you're looking to check that out. So let's go ahead and get it out of its box. Okay, and once these pieces of tape are cut open, it slides out of its outer packaging and you have this black box inside, and there's this flap that opens the box up. First you have the stick itself, which looks almost exactly like the old stick. Now this has the full-size HDMI connector which plugs into your TV, USB connector for power. Now you can plug this into the USB port on your TV, or you can use an AC power adapter. We'll show you how. Now the remote, as you can see here, has a new voice search button, and this is the major difference between the last version and this version. We'll be checking out how this works in the full review, so please stay tuned for that. Now let's see what else we have. Take this shelf off. A user manual to help you set the device up for the first time. The USB cable to power the device up. Now this can be plugged directly into your TV. I'll show you exactly how. Or you can use the power adapter, which they also provide. You can plug the USB cable into this, then you can plug this into your wall outlet, and then plug the micro USB port into your Fire TV Stick. Very thoughtfully, Amazon's also included 2 AAA batteries for your remote, so you can get started without having to look for AAA batteries. Now, a lot of us don't have AAA batteries lying around, so it's very thoughtful of them to have put this in the package. It gets you started right out of the box. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till you go out and shop for AAA batteries. Now this is an HDMI extender or an HDMI extension adapter. Now I don't really like this too much. This is for folks who have very little space between their TV and the wall and need an HDMI extension to plug their stick into the TV. Now with the last version, they provided an HDMI extension cable. This allowed you to connect the Fire TV Stick to the TV even if you had very little space. Now with this new adapter, all it does is it allows you to plug in your Fire TV Stick to this adapter. You still need a full-size HDMI cable to go between this device and the TV. I think that's kind of a step backwards. I really wish they'd included that HDMI extension as they did with the original version, but for most people this shouldn't be an issue. But if it's an issue, you're going to need a full-size HDMI cable. Make sure to get a really short one. Now the first step is to install batteries in your remote. Slide the cover down gently and then it pops off. Now watch the polarity. Both the positives seem to be pointing to the front of the remote, and then pop the cover back into its groove and slide it back in. And that completes the installation of the batteries. First thing we're going to do is plug the Fire TV Stick into the TV. Now the HDMI ports on my TV are on the side, or rather on the edge, and I'm going to plug the device into one of those HDMI ports. You can choose either one of the HDMI ports that you have free. Okay, and go ahead and plug the Fire TV Stick in. Next, I'm going to plug the micro USB end of the USB cable into the Fire TV Stick. And then I'm going to plug the USB cable into a port on the TV. Now, if you choose not to plug it into your TV, you can also, as I said, use the AC adapter to power the device. But you need power either way. So I'm going to plug it, in my case, into the side of my TV, which has a free USB port. It's plugged in to the side of the TV and it will power up as soon as your TV is powered up. The next step is to make sure that your TV is plugged in, and then go ahead, use the remote on your TV and power on your TV first. Choose the HDMI source. In my case, it's HDMI 2. And as you can see, the Fire TV Stick is now booting up. It's going to take a little bit of time the first time to boot up. And in order to pair the remote, I'm going to press down on the home button on my remote. So press down on your home button. That's the button right here. Press down on that for about 10 seconds. Now the remote has paired to the Fire TV Stick. It also went through a minor update process which took about 1 minute to 2 minutes. The device is now ready to use, and now all it asks you to do is press that play button. And I'm going to go ahead and press the play button on my remote. Then next it asks you to set up the language you'd like to use. In my case, I'm just going to use English United States. Select that. Then the next message on the screen, it says unsupported USB port, insufficient USB power detected. Use the included USB cable and Amazon power adapter for proper operation. Now this is what they recommend. It's up to you what you use. They really recommend using the AC adapter. I guess the device uses slightly higher power than the original device, but I'm just going to run it without that AC adapter and see how it performs. So I'm just going to go continue without power adapter. It says scanning for networks. Then it'll ask you to connect to your specific Wi-Fi network. In my case, it's Vortex 1. And then it asks for the password for this network. I'm going to go ahead and enter it. Okay, so I've entered the password and I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. Now, how you navigate through these menus is using the navigation wheel. This moves you right, this moves you to the left, this moves you up and down. So that's how you navigate, and you select using the button on the center. Very reminiscent of the early iPods. Okay, and it's connecting to the network. Now that took a few minutes. It connected it to the network and then it automatically registered the device to the Amazon account you used to buy the Fire TV Stick. Now that's if you bought it from Amazon. If you bought it from some other retailer, you will need to sign in using your Amazon account, or at least create one if you don't have one already. And that's very simple to do. Now in my case, I'm just going to continue with my current account. You can also change your account if you want to. Okay, then it says it's checking for network speed. Next, it plays a demo on how to install and use your Amazon Fire TV Stick. It's kind of handy if you want to sort of get an overview of how this whole thing works. So go ahead and watch it if you'd like, but that's up to you. We're just going to skip it for now. Okay, next it asks you whether you'd like to enable parental controls, especially if you have kids in the house. This is very important. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say no parental controls. Then it says that Amazon Alexa is now on Fire TV. Now this is the voice search feature that does all sorts of general search terms like how's the weather in Seattle today, play music by Bruno Mars. It'll do all that. I'm just going to say got it and hit select. Okay, and there you go. It brings you to the home page of your Amazon Fire TV Stick. You can browse a lot of content. If you're a Prime subscriber, you can view all your Prime content here. You also have apps like Netflix and YouTube where you can watch other content from Netflix and YouTube and HBO and all the other content providers. So the stick is now ready to go and ready to use. We will be doing a very in-depth review on how the stick works and also sort of comparing it to the old Fire TV Stick just to see what kind of changes they've brought about. So please stay tuned for that review. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for that review. If you found this video useful, please support our channel by hitting that like button, and thank you very much for watching.